Good evening, everybody. I'm going to give everyone just a minute to trickle in, and we will get started shortly. I don't want to take up too much of anybody's time this evening, but we do want to thank everyone for joining us. This is an important topic in our area and an important topic to our residents, so we will begin shortly. And I do want to encourage everybody for best sound quality to click on the bottom of your screen. There should be either an English or Chinese channel available. We do have our wonderful interpreter, Yana, on with us again tonight. So if you're here for either the English presentation or our Mandarin interpreter, please select that for best quality at the bottom of your screen. All right, it looks like we have the majority of probably whoever's attending tonight. We will probably have a few more trickle in as the evening goes on. So thank you for joining us for Pet and Coyote Safety Town Hall. We have a great slate of presenters here for you tonight. We have Kevin McManus from the Pasadena Humane Society, who will be kicking things off first for us today. We also have Alex Heron from the California Department of Fish and Wildlife, and Vanessa Guerra from our San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments, specifically the Neighborhood Coyote Safety Program tonight, though I think she wears many hats at the COG, but she's specifically wearing her Coyote Neighborhood Program hat tonight. So without further ado, we're gonna kick it off. Kevin, why don't you go ahead and get started on your presentation about pet safety and licensing.
Sure. Well, good evening, everyone. Thanks for having me. I am Kevin McManus from Pasadena Humane, and yeah, my presentation this evening is about licensing. And well, as you know, or hopefully you know, if you have a dog in the city of San Marino, you should be getting your dog license from Pasadena Humane. Next slide. It is super easy and important for you to get your license. First of all, it is state and local law that requires all dogs over 4 months of age to have a license. It is super easy to do that, and I'm going to explain a little bit about the process. But before I do, we're going to go over the whys, or why you should get your dog licensed. So next slide, please. First of all, a license tag is one of the easiest ways for our animal control officers to return a pet to his or her home. We have, there's a variety of ways that we can kind of figure out who the dog's owner is, but a license is probably one of the most efficient, because we have an online database. Our animal control officers in their trucks can look up a license way quicker than even a microchip. So it is, sorry about that. I'm so sorry, I'm having technical difficulties. Okay. There we go. So sorry about that. Anyway, so along with a microchip and an ID tag, a license tag is one of the easiest ways to get your dog back home should he or she get out. Okay, next slide. The main reason that licensing exists is to promote community health and safety. It's a way for us and for the state, the city of the state, to keep track and make sure that every dog is receiving a rabies vaccine. Rabies in dogs has been basically eradicated in California for years and years now, which is a great thing, and we want to keep that going, because rabies is it's a fatal disease for dogs. So keeping that vector opportunity away is the most important thing for us. Okay, next slide. But also, your pet license, by purchasing your pet license from Pasadena Humane, you are helping all animals in our community. The variety of programs that we provide to residents of San Marino and everywhere are funded in part by our licensing fees. So when you pay your license, it goes to Pasadena Humane directly, and yes, so we can save more animals and make the world a better place for animals of all kinds in our area. Okay, next slide. And another reason I mentioned at the top there, it is the law. In the city of San Marino, all dogs over 4 months and older have to be licensed. If you are neglecting to do that, you certainly could face a penalty if your dog is not licensed, or if your dog is not, or your license is not renewed before the day it expires. Okay, next slide. The easy part is how to do it, and that is through our website, which is pasadenahumane.org/licensing. We make it super easy. If you do not want to go online and do it, feel uncomfortable doing that, you can certainly come down to the shelter in person. We're located in Pasadena, 361 South Raymond. And you just can print out a form from our website, and there's some other materials that you'll want to bring with you, which we'll go over in the next slide. These are the things that are required. As I mentioned, like the proof of rabies is the ultimate reason to get a dog license, so we can make sure that rabies remains eradicated in companion animals. You need to provide proof of spay or neuter for your dog. If your dog is not spayed or neutered, the license fee is a little bit higher. The forms which you download from our website. And if you already have a dog license, you can provide the license number and the expiration date. If you don't have a new one, that's fine. Or if you're renewing it, well, we can look it up by the number. And the fees, $25 if your dog is spayed or neutered, and it goes up to $60 if your dog is not. Okay, next slide. And where to find us, the easy part, pasadenahumane.org. That's where the resource for all things related to the shelter can be found and accessed. That goes from licensing to adoptions to other programs that we provide, fostering, volunteering, all that kind of stuff. Our phone number is 626-792-7151. And our general email address is hello@pasadenahumane.org. If you're social media savvy, you can also find us all over social media and Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and all that. And I think that's my last slide.
All right. Thank you, Kevin, so much for joining us. I know you're going to be sticking around for questions. I do want to remind everybody, if you have questions, please use the Q&A feature on Zoom, and we will try to get to questions at the end. But I don't want to take away any more time from Coyote. I know Vanessa has a lot of material to get through. So why don't you go ahead and take it away, Vanessa?
Thank you so much, Nicole. Thank you for inviting us, and thank you everybody who made time to be here today. My name is Vanessa. I work at the San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments, and I'm here on the behalf of the Neighborhood Coyote program. So for today, I'll be doing a quick introduction on who we are and what we do, and then I'll pass things over to Alex Hearing from the California Department of Fish and Wildlife. So a little bit about who we are. We're the San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments, like I mentioned, or SGVCOG for short. We are a regional planning agency that works here in the San Gabriel Valley. So we work with 31 different cities here, 2 supervisorial districts and 3 municipal water districts. And we have a variety of programs within our organization. A lot of them, some of them are transportation. We do homelessness, housing, water. We also do a lot of programs with the environment. So I currently work under our sustainability team. And in our department, we have our Neighborhood Coyote program. So our Neighborhood Coyote program it's an outreach and education program. And also we do track coyote behaviors and encounters as well. So we do work with 9 participating cities, and San Marino being one of the cities that participates in this program. So we do work with cities and the residents to ensure the safe coexistence between residents and coyotes. So we want to aim to prevent escalated coyote encounters. So that's our goal. So how can we help you as residents? We are here to help you and equip you with the resources that are needed to help you prevent escalated encounters with coyotes. We can help you evict coyotes from your property, since right now it is thinning season, and it's something to just keep an eye out in your yard and make sure there's no coyote dens or pups around. We'll help you know when and how you should safely haze coyotes if they do come into your property, and just give you suggestions on how to keep your pets safe, especially because, you know, coyotes can jump into your yard and can jump over 6 feet tall, and, you know, they're pretty quick. So we want to make sure everybody is safe. And we also help you identify any attractants that are attracting coyotes into your property, essentially. So, you know, it could be things like your fruit tree, for example. And then, so also, we're also just here to help you understand the precautions that are necessary to safely coexist with coyotes. So what should you do when you see a coyote? A lot of the times, first instinct is probably to run away, which is the first thing that you should probably not do. So when you do see a coyote, if you do encounter one, you want to make sure you stop and do not run away from it, as running away can trigger its instinct to chase you. So you want to stop, you want to make yourself look big and be as loud as you can. You can use any type of noisemaker, like an air horn, a whistle, some keys if you have keys with you, anything like that. And just start, you know, announcing yourself, making sure the coyote knows you're there and you are a threat to them and not they're a threat to you. So you want to make sure that once they're at a distance from you, you can slowly start retrieving back, but you still don't want to turn your back on the coyote until you know you're at a safe distance from them. And then just make sure you teach your family and neighbors on what to do, and just let everyone know running away is probably not a good thing. So some additional tips that you should consider, especially when going on walks. As you know, it is summertime, and a lot of people like to take those evening strolls. So you just want to make sure that if you do live in an area where there are a lot of coyotes or there's a large coyote activity, you want to carry something with you to defend yourself. So any loud noises, like I mentioned previously, would scare coyotes away. So carrying something like a whistle with you, a can full of coins can help as well. And some people have mentioned air horns are pretty useful, so that's always an option, and they're relatively inexpensive as well. You can also carry little small pebbles that you can throw at the coyote's direction to kind of scare it away, and even a walking stick to help ward off the coyotes. So anything like that would help. But we also highly recommend to keep your dog on a leash if you do have a dog or a pet with you. Keep it at a maximum of 6 feet. So you want to make sure it's relatively close to you whenever you do encounter a coyote. Other things you can do while at home, you can use your garden hose to spray the coyote. Just make sure it has like the nozzle, so it sprays it at a long distance, so you don't have to get close to the coyote. And that's, you know, if it's safe to do so, of course. You don't want to start hazing the coyote wherever he feels like cornered or he feels like there's no way to run. You never want to do that. So you want to make sure he's at a distance and there's enough space for him to like run away. And then, you know, like I mentioned previously, making loud noises helps. But when you're at home, you can always just stay inside your house, get a pot and a pan and just bang it together. That usually makes a really loud noise. So that would definitely help. And it also keeps you safe indoors pretty much. So things that residents can do to help is making sure you remove any attractants in your yard. Make sure there's no any food sources or water or any type of shelter in which coyotes can build their dens or rest in. You also want to make sure you supervise your pets and try to keep them indoors if possible. That's usually the safest place for them. And we highly recommend not to feed any feral cats or stray cats, as they are one of the main reasons on why coyotes kind of stay or come into an area, because that's relatively easy food source for them. So you just want to make sure that feeding wildlife is not a good idea. you know, as you're starting to bring other types of wildlife into your neighborhood. So that's a highly good suggestion there. And also, you can also, you know, report coyote sightings to us. So you just want to make sure that it takes a whole community to help mitigate coyote activity in the area. So if you're probably not feeding feral cats, but then your neighbor is, it doesn't help much that you're not, because, you know, if somebody is, then that's bringing coyotes into your area. So you want to make sure you talk to your neighbors and just all work together to help mitigate coyote activity. So really quickly, how you can report coyote sightings to us: you can call us by phone, you can email us, you can fill out a Google form. This picture on the left-hand side is kind of what the Google form looks like. And then if you, at any time you just have any questions, like you've never seen a coyote, you don't know how to react, give us a call. We'll be happy to help you. And we do build reports for the city. We do like a monthly report at the end of the month, and we do post it on our website. So you can always find the city's reports on our website. And then things that we would be asking you during reporting, there's quick, simple questions. You know, where did you see the coyote? How was the coyote? Was he like, you know, small? Was it a bigger coyote? Did he look sick? Was he healthy? You can put that information in there. And then you can also say whether you haze a coyote, like if it was in your yard, did you try hazing it and how did it react? That's always very helpful for us to know the coyote behavior within an area. And we always recommend, you know, if you do just see a coyote walking down the street, that's perfectly fine. Let it be. He's on his own way. You can just call us, let us know, hey, there's a coyote here. That's perfectly fine. We'll take that report, of course. But we always just recommend, don't let them sit in your yard and just relax there. That's definitely want to just scare them away and not let them get comfortable. So ultimately, you know, you guys are our eyes and ears in the neighborhood. So this is the only way we can better understand the coyote situation in each area. So really quickly, when other places you should be contacting besides us, the Neighborhood Coyote Program, is animal control, the county animal control. They usually do go out there if you see a really ill or really injured coyote that is not really able to move. At that point, they can go out there. And also we have received calls where coyotes leave cats or cat remains in, you know, in the sidewalk or anything like that. So at that point, you can call animal control and they'll be able to pick up any like deceased cats or even PFAL as well. That's happened as well. And the times you need to contact code enforcement would be whenever a property is in violation of municipal code. For example, that would be like a vacant property that is really unkept and there's like overgrown grass and trees and foliage, and it serves like a perfect place for a coyote to hide in. So at that point, you know, you want to make sure you do call and let them know, you know, this property is in violation. So our phone is mostly for non-emergency contact and emergency encounters, sorry. So, but if at any point you do feel like your life is at risk, we highly, highly recommend to call 911. And before I hand things over to Alex, this is our website where you can find a lot more information on coyote safety. We have our phone number, our email, and we also recommend everyone to follow our social media sites because we're always putting up tips on coyote safety, and we also share any events that we'll be attending. So thank you so much for your time, and I'll pass things on to Alex.
Thank you. My name is Alex Heron. I'm a research scientist with the California Department of Fish and Wildlife, and I wanted to thank the city of Vanessa, the San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments, and also Kevin and the Pasadena Maine and everyone else, everyone who's able to attend tonight or is viewing this later in the future. Just wanted to thank everyone coming out to listen and participate in this important discussion. We know that there's a lot of differing opinions about coyotes within San Marino, and again, we want to have a nice constructive discussion on how to best prevent problems with coyotes while still using appreciating coyotes for their intrinsic value and for the ecological services they provide to the community. So California Department of Fish and Wildlife, we are the state agency tasked with managing wildlife across the state. Next slide, please. And again, coyotes observations and sightings aren't anything new to Southern California, and they're not unique to Southern California. They are, I'm not sure if will the next slide work? Let's see. Oh, well, I guess the maps, sorry, the map didn't work, but you can, if you're interested, you can look at the map on iNaturalist, which is a citizen science reporting tool that folks can use to report wildlife sightings of all different types of species. And you can see that there's wherever there's people in California, there's coyotes. They're across their habitat is across the state, and they do very well within urban areas. They're very adapted by animals, and they've really adapted to residential areas and urban areas, largely because of there's additional food sources, which we'll talk about in a bit. But just covering over some of the state policy and the state laws regarding coyotes. They're part of our terrestrial predator policy, which is a policy from our California Fish and Game Commission that we manage terrestrial predators such as coyotes for their intrinsic biological, historical, cultural, and ecosystem value. So coyotes eat a lot of rodents, which, if they weren't on the landscape, there would be a lot more issues with rodents, and especially with the disease that rodents can spread. So we in the commission work to promote the ecological, scientific, and aesthetic, recreational, and education value of native predators such as coyotes using ecosystem and science-based management. However, we do prioritize human safety. So again, in all cases, that is our top priority, is making sure that people are safe, and we promote a diverse set of tools to avoid, reduce, and manage conflict or property loss. We know that not, San Marino is unique compared to other cities, that one size fits all approach is not going to work for every city. Every city has its own needs and values that we want to help work with. So we provide a range a range of different tools, a toolbox for different cities that they can take the different tools and use them as it works for them, based on the needs of their communities. Next slide, please. So for legal status, coyotes are classified as non-game species per California Fish and Game Code, which is written by the legislature, and Title 14 of the California Code of Regulations, which is written by the Fish and Game Commission. Coyotes are causing property damage, also known as depredation, can be taken by any legal means. However, there's county and municipal ordinances that may limit options to take coyotes. So for example, it is legal by state law to use firearms to kill coyotes if they're causing property damage. However, within city areas, discharging a firearm is not safe and not legal for a lot of areas. So in that case, that discharge firearm would not be a legal method, because we can't overwrite it does not override the county or city ordinances regarding what is a safe method to use. One question we get a lot is whether or not it's legal to relocate coyotes, and it is illegal for a variety of humane and ecological reasons. One, it doesn't address the root of the problem, which is coyotes coming there being attracted by a food source. So if you remove the coyotes that are approaching that food source, new coyotes are going to come in, and the same problem is going to exist. Moving animals around is not really humane for the animals. It spreads disease, and coyotes are territorial, so it's not really it's not an ecological option to move coyotes from one location to another location. Next slide, please. So again, coyotes, as I mentioned, they do perform valuable ecological services. So this is actually up a little bit north of you guys in Northern California is the Sonoma chipmunk. But again, Southern California has a lot of other rodents. Some of them are native, and some of them are not native rodents, but can still cause issues when they get populations too high. And coyotes serve as a valuable check and balance on the local rodent populations that would otherwise not have that check and balance and possibly spread disease or create other problems. Next slide, please. So coyotes have a family group system. There's usually a one breeding pair, a male and a female, that are the ones that are producing pups. And then the other coyotes, possibly coyotes from brothers and sisters or former offspring, will hang around and oftentimes like assist with raising the pups. Within urban areas, their territories can be quite small because there is a lot of extra food out there for them. But again, the reason why getting back to that trapping and relocation, even if it was legal, aren't effective long-term solutions, is because if you remove, it's very difficult to remove that breeding pair of coyotes. And if you do not remove the breeding pair of coyotes, or even if you do remove the breeding pair of coyotes, a new pair will move in and take over that territory. So again, one of the really key messages is removing the attractants or removing the food source and the source of what it might be causing some of these human and coyote conflicts. Next slide, please. So again, Vanessa had talked about this. There's a variety of different things that may be attracting coyotes into a neighborhood. And again, if you're here with us tonight, or if you're viewing this later on, you're probably already doing all these things correctly, and not having these attractants on your property. But it's important to help get the word out to your neighbors, others in your community that maybe are not aware of the issue, or for example, some folks who are older, they may not be able to be physically able to do all this stuff, and they may need help from their neighbors. So again, a lot of the attractants that we talk about are food. This can be unmaintained bird feeders that can attract the bird seed, can attract, first, in some cases, the seed itself or the suet can attract coyotes itself, because that is a nutrient-rich resource. But it can also attract rodents or other small mammals, such as squirrels, or birds that are also attracted to coyotes. There can also be trash, so human food sources in trash. If the trash is not properly secured, can attract coyotes. And even if it is in a wildlife resistant bin, like an example of on the case to the lower right hand corner, if that is not properly maintained, again, it can attract wildlife. For looking at the image in the top left corner, another important attractant that can be important for coyotes is habitat or den space. So this was a spot it was actually on a campus in your guys' area. I won't say which one, but it was a university campus. It was not in San Marino, but and you can see that it's the screening. Someone screened it off to try to prevent animals from getting in there, but the screen was either cut or torn. And you can see there's fur around it, that there's some animals been using this as a den site. It may not be a coyote, but even if it's a raccoon, possum, or skunk, that can be an attractant or a problem in of itself. So again, trying to make sure that places underneath the house, patios, balconies, decks are secured, as well as removing the trash and attractants, or for example, fallen fruit. I know the 4th of July is coming up. A lot of folks enjoy picnicking or barbecuing, but again, making sure that those grills and barbecues are clean, because if the food smell is left over on it, that can attract wildlife. Next slide, please. So we have a few different programs. We work with both Pasadena Humane Society, as well as the San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments, and participating cities on a wide variety of different wildlife management programs. So we have Keep Me Wild program, which is a program about coyotes, as well as other species such as bears, raccoons, that provide information and sort of reasons why it's important to not feed wildlife, whether it's deliberate feeding or accidental feeding of wildlife. So again, if again, we know that the folks in this meeting are probably already doing everything right, but if you know of neighbors or other folks in your community or neighborhood that might want some of this information or might benefit from this information, please check out our Keep Me Wild. We also have a Wildlife Watch program, which is modeled after Neighborhood Watch. That goes through and it helps communities identify what might be attracting wildlife into their neighborhood and how to coexist and sort of address some of those issues. Next slide, please. And this is a resource that I believe that San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments also includes in some of their materials. This is just a template. We can work, cities can adapt it to or develop one that fits their own needs, but it's a checklist or a backyard audit. It can also be the front yard audit as well to identify some of the things that might be attracting coyotes or wildlife that people maybe not be aware of, and how to sort of like a report card to look at what needs to be fixed and what can be improved and where the person is doing well. So again, some of these things are like that people don't think about because they think of coyotes as being predators or carnivorous. They actually are omnivores. They'll eat anything. Pretty much anything. So even fallen fruit that can be an attractant to a coyote. So I know Southern California is pretty famous for its fruit trees, but that can be an attractant. For example, sprinklers and fountains. If the sprinklers, so that can be a source of water that can attract coyotes, especially in I think we're hopefully fairly fortunate this year in that it's been a wetter year, but in times of drought, water can be an attractant, especially for lawn sprinklers. The sprinkler heads can actually attract rodents, and rodents can gnaw on those, and then that in turn can attract coyotes. Next slide, please. So again, and this is another of the San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments has a similar matrix, and this is one that could be this is just a template or an example, and individual cities or communities can adapt it as it fits to them as a response matrix that highlights what types of coyote behaviors are being observed, and then what is the human behavior or the human response that should be following from that. So again, just seeing coyotes, that might not be an issue. It could be, sometimes the coyotes are seen in sort of park areas or natural areas, just going about their natural behavior. And that's not really an issue. It is good to be aware of that though, so that you can make sure that people take care of their pets and remove attractants so that a problem doesn't happen later on. Ranging all the way from yellow or an orange, where a coyote is maybe causing a mess by getting into unsecured trash, or perhaps a coyote has taken a pet, all the way up to red, which is when a coyote has bitten or scratched a human. So this is the instance where California Department of Fish and Wildlife, we only have the authority to come in and remove a coyote once it's been bitten a person. So we aren't able to come in and intervene and take a coyote when a coyote takes a pet, but we can come in and work with local law enforcement when there's been a bite on a person. Obviously, we want to try to prevent that. I already saw one of the questions is that this is a fairly it's very rare that a coyote will bite or scratch a person. For example, bites and scratches from domestic dogs, pet dogs, are much more common. There's thousands of those that happen a year across the country, or across the state, whereas there's only a handful of bites from a coyote that happen on people a year. So again, it's definitely when it happens, it's definitely serious. So we want to prevent it from happening, but it is. I also don't want to alarm folks unnecessarily that it is compared to car accidents, domestic animals, all these other sort of accidents are much more common than bites from coyotes. It's just that it tends to be a lot more newsworthy when it happens. It's because it's so rare. Next question, or sorry, next slide. So again, the San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments presented information on how to report the coyote sightings encounters to them. That's definitely a great resource that we recommend. If you would like to report it directly to our California Department of Fish and Wildlife, this is the website that you can do so, and it will send an online report, and we work with the COG on data sharing and sharing observations. So again, it's another resource in the toolbox if folks are interested in using it. I think there might be one more slide. Oh yeah, so this is again, thank you for participating today, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to come and speak to you.
All right, thank you guys so much. I do want to continue to encourage everybody, if you have any questions for any of our panelists, to submit those through the Q&A. We did have 2 questions that came in, so those kind of got answered. The first one was about whether you can call to report after work hours. And Vanessa said that absolutely you can, that they will return the voicemail. And I do know that they return those voicemails because I usually get a report as soon as somebody has called to make contact from our city. And then Alex was talking about how dangerous coyotes are. And I think, you know, we kind of have a reasonable level to be concerned about them in our neighborhoods, and it's good to be aware, and it's good to know what to do when you see them. But it is good to know that that is kind of a rarity. They're going to attack you. And as long as we keep an eye on our pets and make sure that they are at a safe distance, they should stay safe. I do want to mention that we do have from PD Commander Tebbets on tonight. Thank you for joining us in the audience. And we also have Acting City Manager Mario Rueda. So thank you guys for being on. I also see that Councilmember Gretchen Shepherd Romney is on, and I want to thank her for being on this evening. And I will give everybody a little bit more time to submit any more questions lingering. I guess you guys just did too good of a job presenting. Just left nothing to the unknown. All right, guys. Well, I don't have any other questions being submitted. The contact information for our San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments representative for the Neighborhood Coyote Program, Vanessa's there. Alex has graciously provided his contact information, and I did provide the slides, which I believe all the Pasadena Humane Society contact information was on there earlier. And so this recording will be available afterwards. I hope you share it with your friends, your neighbors, and maybe that we really permeate this safety message through the community. But thank our panelists so much for being on, and I want to thank our interpreter once again, Yanan, for being on with us tonight. And I will let everybody come back to their evening. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nicole.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole.